What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is the new season of Family or Fiance, season 2, episode 1. So we start this new season off. We have our new couple, Sean and Will and Shay. Lord, I'm just making up names. Will and Shay. Now, Will and Shay have known each other they used to work together. They've known each other for a couple of years. And Sean is about 12 years older than Shay. And we find out that Will was actually still married when him and Shay started dating. And he ain't tell Miss Shay. So that's a red flag. There's an issue right there. Now, their biggest conflict is Will's family not accepting Shay. She said that, the first time she went to dinner with them so they could meet each other, she said they had been dating for about 2 years before she even went to dinner to meet up with them. And when she did, she was like, his mama barely spoke to me. Like, they didn't say nothing to me the whole time. It was very uncomfortable. And it doesn't seem like there's really any problems as far as Will with Shay's family. Now, there is a little bit of a disadvantage because Will's family lives in Texas and he currently lives in North Carolina. And that's where, Shay's family is. So he spends more time with Shay's family than than vice versa. And so that's a conflict as well. Now, Will's mom, dad, and brother are coming. Shay is her mother, her best friend, and I think it's either her sister or her cousin. They're coming. Now, when I immediately picked up on some things from the beginning. When the doorbell rang, Will and Shay was sitting on the couch, and when the doorbell rang, Shay was like, go see who it is first. And I took that immediately as I don't want to get up and go see who it is, because if it's your family, I really don't want to be bothered. But if it's my family, I'm ready for them to get here. And he was like, no, let's go together. No, we need to go together. No, we need to go together. So they go, and it is his family. And she doesn't really say anything. But the feeling is mutual. They don't say nothing to her. She don't say nothing to them. But I feel like they're coming into your home for the weekend. You should have greeted them. You should have given them more than just a... And then she immediately disengages. She goes upstairs. Then she goes out by the pool. But the minute her family gets there, it is like family reunion. They are squealing and squeaking and laughing and joking and taking tours of the house. And even Will left his parents to go be with them. And even when they came through the area where his parents were, he didn't stop and say, let me introduce you guys. Hey, these are my parents. Hey, this is Shay's mom and sister. Like, none of that. And so that immediately set a tone for Will's parents. And I understood it. I'm not defending how they may have treated that woman in the past, but I definitely saw some stuff. And again, I don't even necessarily put all of that on Shay. I put some of that on Will, because you should have made sure that your family was included from the beginning. Now, the first activity that they're going to do that night is they're going to play... Will is going to cook dinner with Shay's family, and they're going to play Would You Ever, I think it was. And they get to write down some Would You Ever questions, and they have to answer those. And then on the flip side, Shay is going to be with Will's family, and they're going to play basically Jenga, but with the questions, and they have to answer the questions honestly. Will's family was asking her some zingers from the door. I think the first question was, do you think his kids like you? Because he has 2 children from his previous marriage. She was like, no, it was, what will you do to make an effort to build a relationship with his kids? It was something along those lines. Now, she had told, Terry that she had a good relationship with his kids. So that question sort of threw me off. I said, well, what's she talking about? Because I thought they had a good relationship. And she did too. She said, well, I already have built a relationship with his kids. And she was like, are you aware that one of his sons said that he didn't like you? And she was like, no. And I was like, oh Lord, this is about to get ugly. Then another question was, about what would you do if you and Will couldn't have children or something like that. And she, oh, do you do you want to have children with Will? And she said, yeah, we're planning on that. And the brother was like, but what if you couldn't? I mean, is that a deal breaker? And she was like, I don't know if that's a deal breaker, but it doesn't matter. She said, if we can't have children, then we'll adopt. And his mother was like, I mean, you're okay with not having your own children? She was like, yeah, I mean, if he can't have kids, why? I mean, if there's a biological reason why we can't have children, we'll still have kids. We'll just adopt. It's no big deal. So then the question his mother asked was, what are your deal breakers? And she was like, infidelity. And she was like, so children isn't a deal breaker? And I was like, there's a reason why they're harping on this children thing. And I had kind of figured it out, but I was like, I'm going to wait and see what gets said later on down the road. So then, the question was, what did you have before going into a relationship with Will? She said, I had my own car. I had my own home. I had my own money in the bank. And then she was like, is this game over? And I understood that in that moment, she probably felt so offended, right? But I immediately felt like these questions are not coming out of nowhere. There's a reason why they asked her every single one of these questions. And at this point, I am starting to give Will a whole side eye about some stuff, right? Now, on the other hand, Will is in the kitchen playing, let's give a hug and let's do a toast and let's this and let's that. Because remember, he already has a really good relationship with them. Now, they're at dinner and Shay is pissed. And she lets them know. She said, listen. Oh, that's the other thing that came up. The mother said, well, were you aware that I didn't know you were coming to dinner when we met you that first night? I didn't know you were going to be at dinner. And Shay was like, that's not true. Will told you. She said no. Will asked me, and I told him I wasn't ready to meet you because at that point he was still married, and I had a relationship with his with my daughter, my then daughter-in-law, and I felt uncomfortable with the situation. And I'm gonna say this. I think that's something that people neglect to understand, that when you're with somebody and you bring that someone into your family, just because you're done with that relationship, it takes everybody else sometimes it takes them time to catch up. And now you have children that are involved. She's grandma. And so I don't know what her current relationship is with her daughter-in-law, but I 100% understand her saying, listen, I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready to meet your new girlfriend knowing that you are still fully married. And she was like, well, he was married, but they weren't living together. His mother was like, She said, but they weren't married, but they weren't living together. His mother was like, Now, I couldn't tell if the was, you right and I'm not going to argue with you, or you don't know what you think you know and I'm not going to argue, or I'm not sure if he was or he wasn't because y'all in North Carolina and I'm in Texas. You know what I'm saying? But I certainly feel like she had a different version of the story. I'm going to just leave it at that. So now they're at dinner and she brings it up. She said, Will, your mother shared with me that the reason why she was so standoffish at dinner that first time we met is because she didn't know I was going to be there. And that she asked you not to bring me. And Will was like, and she was like, well, is it true? And he said, well, yeah, but I just thought that once I brought you and they would get to know you like I know you, that it wouldn't be a problem. So that's your fault, Will. You put your mother and her in a really bad situation, and that's on you because your mama said no. Now, we can argue whether his mama was right or wrong for saying no, but your mama said no. So, yes, she had an attitude. Yes, she was probably standoffish because now she felt like she was blindsided and disrespected because she told you her wishes. Then we got to the baby conversation. Well, baby brother shares with the whole table that the reason why it's an issue for him is because that Will got a vasectomy and he doesn't know if Shay knows that or not, and that's an issue because when shit hit the fan, it's gonna trickle downhill. Now, let's be clear. I don't see where that is the brother's business, but I was thinking, oh damn. This man got a whole vasectomy and ain't saying nothing. He got this woman thinking she about to have some children. Now, we find out later on that he did have a vasectomy. He shared it with Shay, but that he did freeze some of his sperm, just in case, I guess, he had changed his mind, and that he was in the process of getting his vasectomy reversed so that they could have children. So the reality is the conversation was had, and she was well aware of it, but just the fact that his brother felt like he needed to bring that up and that it was his business, because it just won't. It turned into a whole argument. They are yelling back and forth. Shay's family is like, well, that's not your business. That's between the two of them. The brother defended himself, talking about something, but it is my business because when stuff falls apart, like it did the last time, it affects the whole family. The mama got something to say, and she ended up snapping at them, and they ended up snapping at her, and it was a whole shit show. Okay, it was nasty. It got really nasty. I mean, it was some disrespect. It was nasty. So later on that night, the mama sounded like she ready to leave. And she was like, they are bottom dwellers. They are this, they are that. They are not of our caliber. Like, she really was, and I feel like she was ready to go. But the father was like, if we leave, we ain't gonna never get nothing resolved. Like, if we leave, we are pretty much guaranteeing that our relationship with our son is pretty much a wrap. Like, we can't leave, especially not like this. Not on that note. We can't leave it like that. So then, so the next morning, of course, they check in with Terry, and Terry lets them know. Tamika. I keep wanting to say, y'all. I've been doing that from the beginning. Y'all know I keep wanting to call that woman Terry. She says. They tell her what happened or whatever. And she was like, well, it sounds to me like you need to have a conversation with your family. Like, Will, it sounds like you have not given them all the information that they need. And this sounds like it's a bigger issue. Because he said, this is more of a breakdown with my relationship with my family than it is about Shay. I mean, Shay is a part of this, but she's almost like collateral damage at this point. And they agree, like, that this is sort of kind of, and so he said he's going to sit down and have a conversation with his family. And then the task for the day is that Shay and Will's mom are going to go out and learn how to make bouquets, child. So he goes to talk to his family, and he apologizes, and he takes full responsibility for the breakdown. He takes full responsibility for misrepresenting some things as it relates to his relationship with Shay and not giving them all the information they need and really putting everybody in a bad spot. He said, but this is what I need y'all to understand. Oh, because that's the other thing the mother said at dinner. She said, listen, because he said, this woman saved my life. Y'all don't even understand all that this woman did for me. And his mother was like, listen, you said the same thing about your ex-wife, okay? So I'm not moved by none of that. And what I need you to do is understand that you don't need a woman to make you. Whether it's her, whether it's the next woman, whether it was your ex-wife. You need to be able to stand on your own feet and say, I am who I am. You don't need her. You don't need him. You don't need the next person. And so he was like, what I mean by that, she saved my life. Like, y'all don't understand the things that this woman has done for me. He said, listen, I was getting sued. My business was in trouble, and I needed a whole lot of money and a little bit of time. And she had a 6-figure savings account, and she cleaned out her account to help me. He said, and I'm not saying that I feel obligated to her because she did that. I'm saying that solidified our bond and our love and our relationship. And y'all need to understand what this woman has, y'all don't understand all that this woman has done for me and who she is to me. So they accept his apology, and his mother was like, listen, I'm slow. I ain't making no overnight promises, but I would definitely put forth the effort. I would definitely put a good foot forward and really try. So when she went out later on that day with Shay, they had a good conversation. And I do feel like they were able to say some things that needed to be said. And apologies were given, which were needed. Because I do feel like the mama probably been nasty as hell to that little girl. But also, they were both put in a really bad position because Will was in the middle and wasn't given everything that needed to be given, right? So, of course, when it came down to the blessing ceremony, now everybody's giving their blessing because I feel like what needed to be said was said, and what information needed to be cleared up was cleared up, you know. And so, listen, they planning a yacht wedding down to the Miami, honey. So I feel like everybody is happy. Okay. All right. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in those comments. Peace.